in an effort to collect more revenue for the federal government. Did it work? Anyone? Anyone know the effects? It did not work, and the United States sank deeper into the Great Depression. Today, we have a similar debate over this. Anyone know what this is, class? Anyone? Anyone? Anyone seen this before? The Laffer curve. Anyone know what this says? It says that at this point on the revenue curve, you will get...
Do these faces look like the faces you see all too often in your classroom? Why is that? Why don't students bring the same energy to class as they bring to athletic games, card games, board games, imaginary games, and even silly games like you might see at a field day? What's the difference? One difference is fun, or in educational lingo, engagement. Kids love to play, and they love to compete. In fact, they are often motivated to play even when there are no winners, and motivated to win even when there is no external reward. How many days out of the year, however, would a student describe her experience at school as,
"It was so much fun"?
In most cases, wouldn't we be satisfied just to hear,
"It wasn't so bad"?
A second difference between games and traditional learning is how we keep score. In just about every game you can think of, players start with 0 points and work their way up from there. This creates an incentive to work hard, to do more, to try again, and to take smart risks that might score big. In traditional classrooms, however, we keep score with averages. Students start the course with a theoretical 100 average, and then try to lose as little ground as possible. Each graded assignment presents not a new opportunity to score points, but a threat that you might lower your average. This is especially true for high-achieving learners with high averages. They have much more to lose than to gain on each graded activity. So why do more? Doing more just gives you more chances to reduce your average. That leads us to a third difference between games and traditional learning, the role of mistakes. In the traditional classroom, mistakes cost you because they pull down your average. Worse, if you make a big mistake, or even just a couple of medium-sized ones, your grade might never recover. This is especially true when you only get one attempt on a graded activity, and therefore never can learn from your mistakes. So, why shoot for the moon to score it big when it might also cost you big if you mess it up? On the other hand, the opposite is mostly true in games, and, by the way, in science and in real life. Making mistakes is how you figure out how to do things the right way. It's how you identify specific things you're doing wrong so you can improve them. Moreover, the consequences of making a mistake, even one that cost you the whole game, are rarely so harsh that you can't just get up and try again until you really master it. So that begs the question, can what makes games engaging be incorporated into learning? Happily, the answer is yes, and it is called gamification. Gamification is your course turned into a game that is played out by your students in real life. It's not just a part of your course, it's the whole course. You may do it for just a semester or even for just a unit, but during that time, your whole course is one game. In this game, you are the game master. You design every facet of the game and breathe life into it in your classroom. While you will hopefully give students lots of independence, voice, and choice in how the game unfolds, at the end of the day, it is you who are the supreme ruler. Your students, on the other hand, are the players. Depending on what kind of game you design, a student's academic performance might determine whether he hits a single or a triple, defeats a monster or merely escapes with her life, finds lots of treasure or just a little, or develops the magic powers needed to help a popular book character vanquish a foe. What we are not talking about today is merely incorporating educational games into coursework. We know that incorporating game-based learning does increase engagement, but what we are talking about today is when the course is the game, when it is played out in real life by players in a game world created and managed by you, the game master. Before we dive into the nuts and bolts of how to transform your course into a game, let us quickly point out a few things. First, there is a growing body of research and experience to support the impact gamification can have on engagement and learning. It's not merely a half-cocked idea that will be a flash in the pan. Second, while gamification most directly addresses the engaging lessons portion of Target 01 on the PLE Navigator and the recognition of student effort in Engage 02, Gamification is less an instructional practice and is more an environmental container into which you can put any, and really every, of the instructional practices on the PLE Navigator. Last, let us also point out that gamification is not a cure-all. There will still be students who are hard to reach. This includes students who lack prerequisite academic knowledge, who for personal reasons don't function well in a gamified course, or whose abilities are so high that your game doesn't keep them challenged or engaged. You still have to have a plan, within or without the game, to reach these students.
Flight attendants, please report to the cockpit. Flight attendants, please report to the cockpit.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going through an area of turbulence. We ask all passengers to please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened. Thank you.
Don't worry. It's going to be over.
My name is Plethos, and I am the overlord of the Bermuda Triangle. Once every 1,000 years, the mystical creatures of the Triangle gather here on this island to compete against each other in the Bermuda Games. This time, we decided to include humans in the games, and your plane was the first source I could find. So, welcome to the Bermuda Games. You will be given 4 challenges, and because you are weak little humans, we have made them easy. If you survive and if you complete each challenge, I will use my magical powers to transport you to another island outside the triangle. Here are your challenges. In the Sea of Knowledge, scrape a scale off the fearsome sea monster. In the Guided Mountains, cut off a patch of fur from the Great Yeti. In the Personalized Plains, remove a whisker from one of the elusive cheetahs. And in the Flex Valley, pluck a feather from the Great Bird of Prey. To succeed in each of these challenges, you will need to accumulate 20 experience points, or XP. Anything less than that and the mystical creature you face will bring a rude ending to your vacation. To accumulate XP, learn about a particular area of gamification from the materials presented, and use your Book of Wisdom to record elements from that area that you could incorporate into a gamified version of whatever course you teach in your homeland. If you survive and successfully complete each challenge, you will add up your total XP to determine what level you've achieved in the Bermuda Games. These levels are Victor, Champion, Conqueror, and Hero. This human flight attendant here appears to be in charge, so I've implanted into its brain all knowledge needed to help you. Now, let the games begin.